strap yourself in for Keeping It Real with Jac and Ral.
Welcome back, Keepers, to another episode of Keeping It Real with Jac and Ral. I am Gabrielle Dolan and
I am Jack Phillips.
welcome.
Welcome back, Cotter.
Yeah.
Remember that show?
I love
That
Welcome
was
Back, Cotter.
such an old show.
John Travolta.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
What was his name? Barbarino.
Barbarino. That's
Barbarino.
that's right. Love it.
You got a loving and a feeling, rocking and a real Barbaran.
Barbaran.
Okay, wow.
Here we are.
Leave it with that. Here we are. Hey, this episode came from one of our keepers who suggested it, and it talked about leading from the side. So I guess a different form of leadership, how you lead from the side. So we're going to talk about that. And Jac, you know all about this, so kick us off.
I'm fascinated with leadership, Ral. I could talk about it all day. I study it, I listen, I learn, I ask questions about it. I'm right into leading for the future, so I'm doing some work around that at the moment. But you know what I think is the most amazing thing about leadership, and every single person is a leader because you are leading your own life, so therefore you are a leader. But in a working sense, in a career sense or a corporate sense, the great thing about leadership is that you can adapt your style, right?
Yes.
Okay, so depending on the environment, depending on the situation that you are facing in the environment, depending on the goals that the corporate the organisation might have set, you can adjust and adapt your leadership style, and you should.
Yeah.
And this particular keeper came to us and said, look, I'm a leader, I'm doing some leading, and I'm just interested in exploring the concept of leading from the side because I think that's what I do, but I'd love you and Ral to unpack that for me.
Right.
And I thought, what a great subject, because I actually coach a lot of people, and whilst I haven't perhaps described it as leading from the side, that's exactly what they are doing or what they want to do or what they're becoming known for, and it's a really great concept. Do you know what it means, leading from the side?
No, but Digger's barking from
I
the
can
side.
hear that.
You can hear Digger Mac Dolan. He's doing a bit of barking from the side here.
That's really interesting, because if you think about the last time you worked with a leader who didn't bark like Digger orders from the front, but who also didn't sit quietly at the back. Instead, they sort of walked alongside you, yeah?
Right, okay.
Nudging, questioning, amplifying, steadying. That's leading from the side. So it's a leader that has enough confidence in you as their direct report or as a team member without needing to be directive, but actually wanting to ensure that you've got the support you need, almost like they're your partner.
Okay.
Almost like a coach, actually.
Yeah, I was going to say, is it sort of sounding a little bit like leaders, these are like leaders as coach?
Yeah, a leader as coach. Yeah, well, that's a tactic, I suppose, to unlock the potential of people. You could be a directive leader who also coaches a leader.
Yep.
But I think a better analogy would be, so you're not in the driver's seat, you're not in the back seat, but you're almost the passenger as a leader for the person driving. So think of it as a leader who recognises they've got a team member that's perhaps ready to step up, or take on more, and they're keen to explore new development.
Yep.
And so as a leader, the perfect way to lead that person is to very much be the passenger, very much be the person that leads from the side, because what you're doing is wanting to see what they do, how they identify the opportunity or address the issue. And what you're doing is guiding, inspiring and empowering.
I know you use the passenger seat as an analogy, but if you think of when you teach people how to drive, like teaching your kids how to drive, you're in the passenger seat by default.
That's true.
And there's nothing worse than the back seat driver that's going on if there's someone else. But that's what you're doing. You're guiding and you don't have control.
No.
Just pure by default, you don't have control of the car.
That's right.
So I think it's both a good analogy because, well, it's a good analogy because it's a perfect analogy.
Thank you. That makes me a perfect podcaster. What's really interesting about leading from the side when we position it against like traditional styles, right?
Yeah, okay.
We're always looking at leadership. It's always evolving. It's always changing. So leading from the front, which was sort of more the command and control, not always. I mean, you can lead from the front without being commanding and controlling, but let's imagine it's the old style, Jack Welch leading from the front, directive, pace setting, yeah? Then there's leading from behind, which is more like servant leader. Yeah, I'm there to unlock your potential and be right behind you, if you will. It's quiet empowerment. Yeah.
Yep.
But then there's leading from the side, which is, as I was just saying, it's more about the influence. It's about the partnership, the collaboration, the co-pilot sort of energy.
Sounds a better style, doesn't it? Sounds like a good,
Does sound a good
in the
style.
middle.
Well, it is. And when you think about modern workplaces today, they're flatter, they're cross-functional, they're hybrid. So we're not always working in real life with somebody physically. So the command and control thing doesn't fit. I don't know too many people today, and I think about all the people I coach as leaders, and also and they've all got leaders, clearly. Even the CEOs I coach have leaders. They've got chairmans or chair people. What's really interesting is that the leadership model that we're talking about with leading from the side absolutely encourages trust, ownership, and psychological safety. Yeah.
Right.
So it's having confidence in somebody.
Yes.
It's inspiring them, and it's allowing them to make a mistake.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important. So it's especially powerful when I think about the different sort of environments, like in boardrooms. So I'm on a board, as you know. It's a fantastic organisation that I sit on the board of, McPherson Kelly, commercial law firm, national law firm. We've just bought a law firm in Adelaide, so we're expanding to Adelaide.
Plugging them unless they become a sponsor.
Well,
Don't
maybe they
plug
will.
them.
Maybe they will. So leading from the side is especially powerful in boardrooms, cross-team projects, and certainly coaching dynamics, which you mentioned before. So if you're a leader that is doing more directive leading at the moment, maybe not command and control, but certainly very clear on, this is what I want from my team and I'm going to sort of give them that direction. Yet there is talent in your team. Maybe there's more than one talented person. Maybe they're all talented. They're all high performers. Maybe think about adapting your style so that you're leading from the side. And by doing that, actually seeing what that team or those individuals are capable of.
Yeah.
What is their potential?
I reckon for you to do that, you need trust in them.
Yep.
And
Totally.
because if you don't trust,
Totally.
it's like, it's like if you don't trust your people, then you will not do that. You've got to think they've got enough capability
Correct.
to do it. Yes, they might make mistakes, but
In fact, they should. You're hoping they sort of will, actually.
It's almost like leading by the side is you're there for when that.
Yep.
It's almost like be the bit of a guardrail. I sort of hate
guiding,
that term, but guiding them
yeah.
along. But you need to trust them.
Correct. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But if you're a leader who doesn't trust, then you have to start questioning, well, why are they in the team?
There's a lot. Well, exactly.
I mean,
There's a lot-
I know that there
yeah.
are, but my point is if you're listening to this and you don't trust somebody in your team, then you need to take responsibility for that.
Yeah.
Why don't you trust them?
I had that whole bloody work from home scenario where people are going, but you can't trust them to do. It was like, if you can't trust your people to work from home, you can't trust them.
No.
Like that's
work
a different.
work isn't a place.
That's a different
Couldn't
conversation.
agree more. Just on the trust thing, it's a good one. I'm coaching a younger executive at the moment, amazing person. The executive has asked, as in her executive leadership has asked me to take her on because she's poised for big things. And she said to me, I'm not sure if he trusts me. Doesn't matter who he is. And I said, is that a fact or a feeling? And she said, oh, it's a feeling. I said, so what do we do when we've got a feeling? I said, you can either let it pass and ignore it because feelings aren't facts, or you can validate it.
Right.
What do you think you should do?
Validate it.
And she said, I think I need to validate. I said, well, of course, otherwise you're always going to be wondering. You're always going to be using this as that person doesn't trust me or I don't think they trust me. So what are you going to do now in order to validate it? So we came up with what the questions she would ask of her CEO to confirm whether he trusted her or not. So off she trotted. So we catch up for our next session about 10 days later. Oh, my God, I can't believe it. Thank you so much. Very sweet. I went and had the conversation. It was really hard. It was direct, but I had the conversation and I couldn't have been more wrong.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it?
And so without going into too much detail of the coaching session for confidentiality, but also because it's not entirely related to this leading from the side, how it ended was she was making a whole lot of assumptions around something that was in no way accurate. And the feeling she was getting actually had something to do with something else that was going on.
Right.
That she was able to then validate and get an answer to and be able to manage quite differently going forward. So again, maybe just a side bit of advice, bit of coaching advice for anyone listening in. Validate things. If you've got a feeling around lack of trust or doesn't like me, then ask the question and be specific. Obviously, you're not going to say, "Do you not like me?" You would. It's play the problem, not the person.
Yeah.
And remove the emotion, but actually validate it first. So, leading from the side back to where we were, I think it's really, really important to think about this. As you said, we are not working in environments like we used to. Things have changed immensely.
When you said leading from the side, and you talked about the different types of leadership, and one of the things you said, you got to adapt. As soon as you said leading from the side, it took me back to Harvard, where I did adaptive leadership. The course was on adaptive leadership, and Marty Linsky, who ran the course, and he's written some amazing books about it.
Yeah,
the thing he talked about adaptive leadership and leadership, he would always say that leadership is leading is a verb, not a noun. So it's not a title.
That. Say that again.
Leading is a verb, not a noun.
It's not a name.
No,
it's a doing.
And so whenever,
it's so true.
Whenever whenever one of us would say something about being a leader, he would just pick us up. He's going, you're either leading or you're not leading. You are not a leader. And he kept saying it's a verb,
interesting,
not a noun. And so that's where that took me.
Yeah.
So to me, leading from the side is anyone can lead from the side.
Correct.
Because you're not waiting for a title of leader or people manager or CEO or whatever. It's leading from the side. And I think there's real power in understanding that at any moment you can step in to leading and you can lead from the side, and the impact that can have on other people.
Love it.
I've got a story, not surprisingly.
But
we've got a local post office that, you go to because it's your local post office.
Not often, I wouldn't think. You wouldn't go to the
Well, it's mainly to pick up. It's mainly to pick up parcels that you have not been at home to get delivered, so you pick up a parcel. Now, the guy that clearly owns this post office or works there, has been there for years, he would be the most grumpiest bloody man. Like, seriously, you just go in.
What is it about post offices?
I know. It's like,
and my point there is they are either an amazing, awesome service or the worst. There's nothing in between.
You just walk in and you do not like your job.
You don't like people.
You don't like people. You don't like people asking you questions about mail. Like, you just don't like it, right? And like, sometimes you're in line and there'll be it's near the uni, and so there's a lot of uni students, and they're trying to get stuff, and you'll just go, no, you haven't got that. And I was like, oh my God. Then one day I go in.
I was wondering where this is going.
Yeah. One day I go in and he's there, Mr. Bloody Grumpy's there.
Grumpy.
But there's this young woman who would probably, I don't know, maybe 18 or 20.
What's she doing?
And she's helping him.
Oh, okay. She's working.
She's working there. Yeah, and I go in to collect, there was a few parcels and online orders, one of which is dog food.
Yeah.
And she went, oh, you've got 2 orders. That's exciting.
Oh,
and I went, one's dog food, so it's not really exciting. And then she goes, oh, what type of dog do you have? Oh. And I went, an Australian Terrier. Oh, my God. I was like, and she's talking to me, and I'm thinking, and I walked out, made for service, right? So I'm thinking, wow, and then I thought, wonder if that's his daughter or who it is. Anyway, a week later.
Back you go.
Back I go. Jess was with me. So I just parked the car and Jess jumps out to get the mail. And she comes back in the car and she went, oh, my God, Mr. Grumpy smiled. And so the young woman wasn't there, and she goes, I went in, she goes, it's the most he's ever spoken to me, and he said, oh, what's the weather like out there? And she goes, oh, it's still raining, and he goes, oh, it looks like it's going to be a cold weekend.
What's happened to him?
And then he's going, oh, I don't mind the cold, I just, watch a movie. And Jess is walking out going, something
is that the same
happened.
Person?
And then we're going, what's happened, right?
It's the young woman.
And it's the young woman.
She's influenced.
She's influenced. She's led from the side. So he's going, oh, what is this thing about interacting with your customers.
Having a conversation.
So then me and Jess are going, I wonder it's the daughter or like.
Yeah.
Regardless of what it was,
It's working.
young woman has influenced the most grumpiest old man
How fabulous.
to actually be not grumpy. And Jess was like,
good.
Jess was just,
I love that story. That's a great story.
Yeah.
I did giggle as you were saying, pick up. I went to the post office to pick up, and it made me think of a funny thing. Back in the day in Sydney, I just
Back
met
in the
Richard
day.
Phillips. So we were having a nice old time as a couple of, mid-20-somethings playing up. And there was a bar not far from where we lived.
oh, here we go.
And it was called the Dry Cleaners, as in that wasn't the name of the bar. It was a pub, and the pub had a name. But everyone called it affectionately the Dry Cleaners. You went to pick up a suit.
Oh,
I just thought that was quite funny.
funny.
And
That
as
is
you were
good
saying, you went to
funny.
the post office to pick up. I'm thinking,
pick up.
You're clearly not grumpy ass.
No.
Interesting. So leading from the side, that was a really good story, and that very much it relates to that. So, and your point there is you actually don't need to be a leader. A leader is a verb, not a noun, as Marty told you. But the point is that everyone can influence great leadership by behaving in a way that is leading by the side or from the side.
Yeah. And I think it's really important for young people, that are entering the workforce and listening to this, who might go, well, I'm not going to be in a position of leadership for another 10 years. No, you are in a position of leadership day one.
Right from the start.
And especially
Couldn't agree more.
new, especially like this, clearly this post office woman was new and just
Look at the
injected
influence. Yep.
this energy and
Can you remember the lecturer at Harvard that we had that spoke about every time you speak, you are auditioning for leadership?
yeah.
That's another example for maybe a young person listening in, whilst they might not be starting in a leadership role, they might want to get there. But even if they don't, it's personal brand. But every time you speak, you are auditioning for some sort of influence, if you will. The other thing is everyone is a leader, Ral, in that we're leading something. We're leading our lives.
Yeah, you're doing something.
We're leading ourselves.
Yeah.
And there's only one person responsible for that, us.
Yeah. Hey, remember a few weeks ago?
This is going somewhere,
A few weeks ago, it was sort of after, the whole bloody Kiss Cam thing with the CEO. Coldplay, right? But there was one a few weeks ago at the US Open.
Yep.
Did you hear this?
I did. I saw it.
Polish, so this guy, the winner of the tennis player is signing autographs
in the crowd.
And pulls off his hat,
cap.
to gives it to this little kid. This little boy probably would have been 10 or 12.
And
there's a man next to the boy who just grabs it and gives it to his wife, and it went viral. And it turned out that this guy was a billionaire, like a CEO, right? And then the tennis player was oblivious to this happening, but then was told about it, and then he met with the young boy and gave him all this stuff, right?
Beautiful.
But when I saw that, I thought, first of all, how to destroy a brand in a nanosecond. Now, he came out, the CEO came out and apologised and said, I thought he was giving me the cap.
Yeah, right.
Bullshit,
he snatched it off the kid.
He snatched it off the kid.
Yep.
But that's what I'm sharing this is there's moments that can happen that you can step into leadership or not.
Correct.
Now we could do a bloody whole episode on brand and values around that.
That's just human decency or bad behaviour in that case, irrespective of whether you're a leader or not. And that's just awful and appalling.
Yeah.
What you're saying is as an adult, that's just even worse. I mean, a child doing that, you would absolutely, scold that child. So it's not appropriate. That's not on that.
And the little kids going, oh, that's not fair. That was why you could see him almost crying. And the CEO, you can almost see deliberately he would have heard him and he's just ignoring him.
Yep. Where do you think leading from the side might not work?
An
example.
Pilot.
Well, a pilot has a co-pilot, generally.
True.
So not necessarily.
I think high risk, when sometimes I had to grab the steering wheel. Like, for example, even we go back to that analogy, you're teaching your kids to drive, but you see them veering into a bloody truck. you're going to grab the wheel.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
you've got to step in.
So then take that example into a corporate setting.
Yeah.
Okay, for our listeners that are in the workplace. So you're exactly right. Where there is the ultimate responsibility on a leader to make a decision that is a hard decision or a quick decision based on avoiding a crisis or a response to something, then leading from the side probably isn't appropriate.
Yeah.
You actually do need to take responsibility. Where I've seen that play out very well, and I was the recipient or involved in it, was a bank CEO that did need to make a quick call but still rallied his leadership team just to say, I'm about to make this call. Here's the reasons why. I'm backing myself and I'm backing it to be the right thing to do for this business. But before I make that call, we'd just love to see if there's any other inputs.
Right, okay.
So that was kind of leading from the side in that he was empowering us to speak up, and it was a psychologically safe place and sharing some very confidential information and telling us what the decision he was making was. And a couple of people did suggest something else, and he still said, no, I think this is why, and I'm going to go ahead. But I still wanted to just give you guys the opportunity to share that.
Yeah. I thought I've got an example. This comes from about 30 years ago. And so when I was at NAB, I did this leadership program, and it sort of was for first-time leaders. It was an amazing program, like 12 months.
Yeah.
You'd get into small groups of 4 or 5 and you'd have a coach work with you for 12 months.
Nice.
And one of the guys, his problem, I'm saying inverted, or challenge around leadership is that he kept stepping in and taking over his employees' roles. And his reason why the consequences. So this was at a bank, and I think it was something about dealing with customers, and it was like, what if they give them the wrong advice? And we would sort of go, well, but what are the real consequences to that? Like, no one's dying and it's a teaching, but he kept jumping in. Yeah. So that was you had to sort of go, what is the challenge you want to work on? And so that was his challenge he wanted to work on. And I remember at halfway through, or almost towards the end, we went away for 2 days and did, back in the day, you'd do the ropes courses and you'd do these things and these challenges.
Seattle Fish Market, all that sort
and
of stuff.
So we were set up with this challenge, and it was like, you sort of had to work it out. And I remember once there was like there was this tub in the middle that had a lid, and you had to try to get the lid off the tub, but you couldn't step into it. So they had ropes, and I was working with one on my team, and we're trying to do the ropes, and we were trying to get the lid off. And of course it was all timed. Yeah. But you know what? They make it a time thing just to see how people perform
under pressure.
Of course. And so it's a time thing, and I'm trying to get it off, and I kept missing it, and I said to one of the other guys who I think his name was Andrew, I go, I'm not doing it, you do it. He goes, no, you do it. You've got this. Oh, you've got this.
Nice.
So and I tried it one more time, and then the other guy who was working on his not stepping in, he literally grabbed the ropes off me and did it, and he did it, and then of course you debrief.
Wow.
And everyone said, why did you do that? And he went, well, if we were going to lose. Yeah. And they're going, what's the consequences? And he's going, well, the consequences we would have lost. I go, no. And the coach was going, that's the outcome. What were the consequences of losing this made-up game? There's no consequences. No. And then the coach asked me, he goes, how did that make you feel? I go, it made me feel shit. Yeah. And I said, and when I asked Andrew to step in, and he said, no, you've got it, it made me feel really good, and that lasted, and then I felt shit.
Right.
But he was trying to say I had to do it because of the consequences. There was zero consequences.
Yeah. In fact, the consequence of him stepping in was far greater.
Yeah, and he couldn't get why we were having. And this is why they do those programs, to see how you perform in leadership.
Yes. And some people just shouldn't have influence over others for how they make them feel. So lack of self-awareness there. But that's a great story and a great example of the difference between leading from the side, which was Andrew,
it's like,
and the other guy just taking over.
Yeah.
So keepers, I guess the advice or the takeaways here is think about your leadership style and think about, do you lead from the side? If you don't, should you be? If you do, then is it working for you? And is it in the right environments, in the right situations with the right audiences?
Yeah.
Because there's absolutely a place for it. I mean, coaching, an executive coach is leading from the side,
Yes.
if you will. You know,
Yeah.
we're a partner with our coachee, and we're inspiring and we're guiding and we're influencing and we're asking questions. But what we're trying to do is ultimately set them up for success, but the success that they create themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not from us.
And if you're not a leader, the takeaway from this is you can still exercise leadership.
Absolutely. You're leading your life.
Anyone. It's a verb, not a noun. And you'd be amazed, surprised of the impact you can have on the people around you by showing good leadership.
Absolutely. So
Stepping into leadership.
my side hustle,
Yeah.
my
Little
side
side
sidecar.
bit of fluff on
my
the side.
bit on the side.
Bit on the side.
Another great episode of Keeping It Real with Jac and
We
Ral.
think so. We hope you think so. If you do, like, share, rate. 5-star rating. It's always better than a 2-star rating. We haven't had any 2-star ratings. All our ratings are 5.
When have you ever had
We
fun?
take the
Seriously.
they give us a low rating, we just take them out. As usual, if you like this and if you want to get more of us, think of becoming a Patreon subscriber where you get access to early access to podcasts, episodes, bonus episodes, and masterclass where we deliver content that we don't deliver anywhere else.
Book club.
Oh, the book club, and we haven't talked about the book club. We do a sort of book review
That's fun.
once a quarter, and actually the next one, the first one we're doing is
coming up.
Jacinda Ardern's a different
memoir? Is it a
it's a memoir, a different kind of power,
Yeah. And it will be constructive.
as opposed to
Well, we're not just there to say every book's great.
oh no,
Because there's
we
bits of
have
that
different
book that gave me the
opinions on
shits.
this book. Anyway, all ahead. If you want to become a Patreon member, you can hear our thoughts because Jack and I have different views on that book.
We always have views. Patreon, Patreon. When people say it quickly, it can sound different to actually how it's spelled. So Patreon.
Okay, thank you for that spelling lesson.
Vocabulary, grammar.
Until next time, keepers, we'll see you then.
Bye.
You've been listening to another episode of Keeping It Real with Jac and Ral. If you like what you've heard, don't forget to tell others about it and give a 5-star review. They may seem confident, but they really are sensitive 5-star needy souls. Yeah, right. Keeping It Real, created by Jack Phillips and Gabriel Dolan. Produced by Keehlan Ferrari-Brown. And this really real voiceover, spoken by Richard Phillips.